Welcome, welcome, my beauties and bees, to another episode of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I am your host, Miss Bumblebee, and today we're doing something very topical indeed. So stick around because it's going to be a weird one. And this was another phenomena that's kind of bizarre. So. Yeah, that's that volume thing that it drops for some reason. I don't know what causes it to do it, but I fixed it now, so hopefully we're smooth sailing from here on the audio issues. Good morning, good morning. So, I don't know how many of you all are still on Twitter. Oh, sorry, Star Song. Star Song had the volume turned all the way up, and all of a sudden I'm shrieking in your ear. Ah! So sorry. It doesn't need to peak out like that anyway. Let me see. Let me balance it out so it's about right there. It's probably, well, maybe a little bit lower. About right there so my voice doesn't peak. Okay, so I don't know how many of you all still on Twitter, still on these other social medias that are have less than savory content, but some stuff that slips through the cracks is woo. Some stuff that's like still advertised on Twitter is woo because they can't get anything else, right? And you don't got Wendy's on there dropping awesome content like they did 10 years ago. You got freaking Gaia and stuff like that. So it's not surprising that when you get into your Twit feed that you find some bizarre stuff. But this came up to me. I couldn't find any. I shouldn't say any. I couldn't find hardly any coverage on it in English. But let's watch what we're looking at here. And you all tell me what you think, and we'll see. We'll kind of move from there.
Esto es asombroso. Una extraña lluvia de peces cubre las calles de Irán. La gente está asombrada. Un vídeo que circula en redes sociales muestra una lluvia que cae en la provincia iraní de Isfahan, pero arrastrando una gran cantidad de peces. Según científicos, el fenómeno de la lluvia de peces es uno de los más misteriosos que no tiene explicación lógica. Según testigos, las calles se cubrieron de peces y los autos que circulan fueron golpeados. Ante todo esto, la comunidad científica sugirió que una tormenta o tornado de peces. Según científicos, el fenómeno de la lluvia de peces es uno de los más misteriosos que no tiene explicación lógica.
Now, what are we looking at? We're looking at fish falling from... I'm going to go ahead and mute her because she's not... I don't speak that language. I think she's speaking Portuguese, but I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm going to just watch. So it's talking about sky falls, right? About fish raining from the sky, this is the video. This is the clip right here. The guy bends down and picks up the fish. Oh my gosh. Wild. And then you get this clip with all the fish laying in the street. And you get people zooming on little fish. No, wait, I want to pinpoint that one because, not this one, but maybe I missed it. Oh yeah, it's this one, the little minnow laying in the ditch there. That's legit from a sky fall. Sorry, I'm giving spoilers, but most of the stuff you're going to come to find out through this section of Cryptic Corner is not associated with real skyfall. This, the main one, the from Iran, with the fish falling from the sky, is actually a marketing campaign for a fish market. Yeah, and there's like if you look at the way that the fish interact with their surroundings, there's some tells. They all flip the same way and do the same two flips. They don't seem to have. There's like a lack of impact with the pavement here. Now, some of this other footage is from different phenomena and different situations. We have, other than this CGI footage that's used here, you'll have stuff like this where we have fish crossing a flooded road, and then kind of cut to just show the fish that are flopping around. Now, again, in this video that's CGI here, that fish that guy picked up is the only real fish in this scene, right? The only real fish in this scene is the one that the guy bends down and picks up. If you watch, especially this fish right here, that one right there is the giveaway. The way that it interacts with its environment, you can tell it's very CGI. It's like Spider-Man from like 2001 had CGI like that, where it didn't really seem like they interacted with their environment. Now, let me see some of these other ones. Let's see, we had the fish crossing the road. There was one more here, I thought. Anyway, but yeah, this is a real phenomena that happens. Skyfalls do happen. It's a lot of times it's fish. Sometimes it's frogs or snakes. Sometimes it's seaweed that it rains down, or there's been skyfalls of spiders. What it is a cyclone will swoop down and snag them up right out of the pond or the river, carry them up, and then drop them or distribute them, sometimes hundreds of miles away. But it's not a new phenomenon either. It's been going on for a long time. Let's watch this. This is like a history thing. Oh, goodness. A little loud. So we're not going to watch all your intro. Sorry. Discover Zoe.
A rain of animals is a rare meteorological phenomenon in which flightless animals fall from the sky. Such occurrences have been reported in many countries throughout history. One hypothesis is that tornadic waterspouts sometimes pick up creatures such as fish or frogs and carry them far up to several miles. This aspect of phenomena has been never witnessed by scientists. Rain of flightless animals and things has been reported throughout history. In 1st century, Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder documented
the drivers, literally like, why are these people putting fish all over the road and taking videos of it? What's going on? What did I miss?
storm of frog and fish. In 1794, French soldiers saw toads fall from the sky during heavy rain at L'Allier, near the French city of Lille. Rural inhabitants in Honduras claim fish rain happens there very summer, a phenomenon they call Lluvia de Peces. French physicist was...
I like that. Deluvia de Peces. I think it's probably Deluvia de Pisces, but he's Hindi, or speaking, I think his natural language is Hindi, so it's probably not a word he's used to hearing, but it's the rate of fish is what that means in
among
Portuguese.
The first scientists to take seriously account of raining animals. Addressing the Society of Natural Science, Ampere suggested that at times frogs and toads roam the countryside in large numbers. And
by the way, the term "it's raining cats and dogs" isn't actually derived from skyfall phenomena. It's actually derived from when people would have thatched roofs on their houses, and when it would get cold, the critters would bed down inside the thatch, and then when it would rain like crazy hard, the cats would fall, or the animals that were up in the thatch, up in the ceiling, would fall down into the dwelling, and sometimes leave a big hole where more rain came through. But yeah, that's where that expression comes from. But it's often depicted as a type of skyfall, and in hyperbolic way.
Violent winds could pick them and carry them great distances. After a reported rain of fish in Singapore in 1861, French naturalists speculated that a migration of walking catfish had taken place, dragging themselves over land from one puddle to another.
Now that's a lot of fish. Look at that. That's that quote from the Godzilla movie of Godzilla '98. That's a lot of fish. It is a lot of fish, though. Look at that. Those ones are big. In my experience, looking at skyfall images, the bigger the fish, the less likely it is to be authentic. I don't know about this incident though, because I couldn't find a copy of this picture, but I may revisit it if it comes back up. But usually when I see actual authentic skyfall fish, they're smaller than the palm of your hand, not big fish like trophy fish.
Dragging themselves over land from one puddle to another, following the rain. The likeliest explanation for many of supposed cases is that there is no falling happen at all, and animals are driven along by winds or deluge of some sort. This explanation also accounts for the prevalence of reports that only a single species or a type of animal is ever reported raining from sky.
That is one of the unique phenomena about skyfall. A lot of times it'll be one species, right? It'll all be one species of fish or one species of frog. And the explanations for it are kind of flimsy. I agree there. To say, oh, but cyclones just scooped up this species. It's like, huh, did it now? But that is evident in the falls, and a lot of these fish are schooling fish, which makes sense. More so when it's schooling fish than when it's like frogs or something like that. When it's frogs, I'd expect to see especially when it's a lot of frogs, a lot of adult frogs. I expect to see a little bit more diversity in the skyfall, right? Because those frogs had to come from ecology where there was food that they were living on, and frogs are highly competitive and will even eat each other. So, when there's a frog skyfall, I definitely would expect to see other creatures included in that. But when it's fish live in schools, so I'm more forgiving there.
Current scientist hypothesis involves tornadic water sport, a tornado that forms over the water. Under this hypothesis, a tornado water sports transport animals to relatively high altitudes, carrying them over large distances. This hypothesis appears supported by the type of animals in this range, small and light, usually aquatic, and by the suggestion that the reign of animals is often preceded by a storm. The theory does not account for how all animals involved in each individual incident would be from only one species, and not a group of similarly sized animals from a single area.
Yeah, the only thing is that it has to hit just right. I mean, just right to pick up just this school of fish. I mean, it's not impossible, but it'd have to touch down for just a second, grab the right species, and then zip back up.
The theory also does not account for a genuine tornadic water sport, not actually sucking objects up and carrying them rather than flailing objects out to the sides. In case of birds, storm may overcome a flock in flight, especially in times of migration. The image.
Yeah, when it comes to birds in Skyfall, I'm less impressed because a flock of birds. I don't know. They get hit by a sudden polar vortex or something that drops them. That's a possibility, right? But when it comes to fish and frogs, what are they doing up in the air, right? The birds are already up there. They have an explanation. They have a reason to be up there. The peculiar one is the fish, so in the aquatic animals.
The right shows an example wherein the group of bats is overtaken by thunderstorm. In the image, the bats are in the red zone, which corresponds to wind.
Those are not birds. Wait a second.
The image to the right shows an example wherein the group of bats is overtaken by...
These are not birds. No, these are bats. You see the membrane? Birds don't have membrane. They have feathers. These are bats.
By thunderstorm. In the image, the bats are in the red zone, which corresponds to wind moving away from radar station and enter into mesocyclone.
Oh, that was from Sharknado, I think. Yeah, because I see a hammerhead shark. That's a hammerhead shark right there. This is Sharknado footage. This is what Sharknado is based on, though. This idea of a hurricane dropping fish, but could a hurricane or a tornado drop sharks? The physics are there. The physics are there for it, but shark populations don't generally live in the densities that it would require for that to happen.
Moving away from radar station and enter into mesocyclone associated with tornado. These events may occur easily with birds, which can get killed in flight or stunned and then fall. Sometimes this happens in large groups. For instance, the blackbirds falling from sky in Beebe, Arkansas, United States.
Yeah, not impressed by birds falling from the sky. Birds falling from the sky sounds par for course.
December 31, 2010. It is common for birds to become disoriented and collide with objects such as trees or buildings, killing them or stunning them into falling to their death. The number of blackbirds killed in Beebe is not spectacular considering the size of their congregations, which can be in millions. The event in Beebe captured the imagination and led to more reports in the media of birds falling from sky across the globe, such as in Sweden and Italy. Many scientists claim such mass deaths are common occurrence but usually go unnoticed. In contrast, it is harder to find a plausible explanation for the range of terrestrial animals. Hope you like video. If you like, then hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe channel by clicking bell icon and never miss another update. See you in next video. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
I just closed the one I wanted, the next tab I wanted to watch. Hold on. Oh, where'd it go? I was too busy last night. There's like 1,000 miles of Leagues of Pigs. Y'all like Leagues of Pigs, though. Leagues and Leagues of Pigs. Oh, okay. So, more fish falling from the sky. Here we go. This is just I'm gonna mute it because I don't know what kind of music this person's using. Do you heard about the fish raid? Yeah, so in Mexico, September 2017, we got fish rain in northern Mexico, 26th of September 2017. Happened on a Tuesday, September 26th, 2017, yeah. This is due to tornadoes. Why is that going so dang fast? Can you read the text before it disappears? Should I slow it down? Usually I'm speeding things up on this section here, but let's see. What did that say? This is responsible for sucking fish into the air where they are blown around until they're released to the ground. Now this footage right here that it's showing is actually something that they do to distribute fish into new areas to restock lakes and stuff. They actually have planes that will fly and drop fish. I think this is CGI, but it's used in that advertisement about restocking the lakes. Is there something talking or is it just making noise? Yeah. Yeah. That's not one. I don't even know why I left that one on there. That one was not impressive. Show me something good. Show me some good fish fall, people. Come on. Here we go.
Raining fish for a few minutes in Texas. It was raining fish for a few minutes in Texarkana this afternoon.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
4:30 p.m. According to an employee who works for the Ormax dealership on Summerhill Road. He says he and his coworker Brad heard loud noises and looked outside, only to see fish falling from the sky.
No, I'm not gonna. I don't have an ID on these fish, on any of these fish in here, so don't even ask because I haven't really dug into it. And when it comes to ID and vertebrates, fish are probably my weak point for the most part. ID and fishes, different species of fish. Obviously, I know the pond fish and the local like freshwater fish, crappie and trout and bass and catfish and channel cat and all those different species that I can identify. But when it comes to the smaller species that aren't like that you don't catch line and reel, like different minnow species and things like that, I'm at a total loss, and I'm in awe of people who are able to do that, who are able to look at like one little silver fish and then compare it to another little silverfish and say, oh, this is this species and that's that species. And I'm sure that people will probably get like, ooh, if I do that with like a beetle or something, like because black beetles are hard to identify. But yeah, but any other vertebrate, I'm pretty good at IDing. So like frogs and lizards and stuff, I can usually pin it down to like at least a family. But with fish, no, I'm not so good.
There was a loud crack of thunder, and we opened up the bay door, and I looked outside, and it was raining real hard, and a fish hit the ground. And I said, "It's raining fish." And Brad was like, "No, it's not." I was like, "No, it really is." And fish were dropping here and everywhere.
Look at that guy's expressive face. He's great. I like this guy.
Raining fish is believed to be the result of a rare weather event.
Let's watch it begin. Watch it begin.
I was like, "No, it really is." And
there.
Fish were dropping here and everywhere.
Raining fish is believed to be the result of a rare weather event. When a water spout moves over water, sucks up small creatures like fish and frogs and carries them along until the water spout loses steam.
Oh yeah, this is the one I was. This is people tied it to end times. Anytime this happens, someone will tie this up with some end time prophecy. This lady just dropped this video too.
Hello everyone, I'm Taz Dope, and welcome to the Taz Experience. This is a weird one for me. It was raining fish in Texas in 2022. I ran across this video. I had no idea about this in 2022 at all. But do this kind of all tie into what's going on in Texas right now with all these storms and tornadoes and hell?
I think, well, I mean, God hates Texas, right? You know how the song goes? God hates Texas. God made Texas, I know, but if you look at the way that Texas is run, you'd think that God hated it, with all the terrible situations that they keep putting their citizens through due to their poor governance, like when the power grid goes down, when the temperature drops below freezing for more than 48 hours, the whole power grid goes down, and then old people die, or in the air conditioning in the winter or in the summer, you know, also can kill the power grid. So yeah, Texas just kind of gets the short end of the stick. They also have a Gulf Coast, which gets hammered with tornadoes. They got a dry western portion, which gets hit with wildfires. They got big rivers running through left and right and everywhere that tend to flood up in seasonal and in like 25-year floods. So yeah,
Storms, and pretty much they're underwater in a lot of places. So we all know that these things are biblical. Let me know if
we all know these things are biblical, guys. We all know that. They're all biblical.
heard about this or what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and the bell notification.
I will if you can.
For storms with a light drizzling.
I will if you convince me that fish fall is biblical.
Of fish. It sounds like a biblical plague, but it happened this week in Texas, where multiple residents reported witnessing the aquatic animals fall from the sky. News Nation correspondent Marky Martin.
Did anybody hear that whether or not our aurora last night was because of the end times? Is that Jesus coming back too? Is it Jesus coming back the reason why we're seeing the aurora borealis in Illinois? It seems like anytime anything special happens astronomically, or even with the weather, people tend to just tie signs to it.
Oh my goodness, look at all of them. This is a pretty good size one.
Forget the men. They're all in quarantine. This New Year's week, it's raining fish.
There's tons of them in my yard and in my driveway.
For a few minutes during a Wednesday afternoon storm, a flurry of them rained down on Texarkana.
And you get the happiest cats in the whole world, right?
It didn't just hail over here at Walker's One Stop Auto. We've got fish everywhere.
Amber Walker took to TikTok to share her experience. She says in 33 years, she and her husband have never seen anything like it.
And at the time, you go outside, you're seeing these fish falling, and are you like, is this the end of the world? Or like what's happening?
That's what I told him. I said, Jesus is coming back. I said, he might be back tonight by the way these fish are falling out of the sky.
Why would fish fall from the sky to announce Jesus' return? I guess a lot of Jesus' followers were fishermen, though. That kind of checks out. But what would be the point of having them fall from the sky? Are these the fish he used to feed the masses when he did the fish and loaves? Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's how Jesus made the fish. Why couldn't he just do manna, though? There was a time where they could just do manna. You didn't have to do fish. You didn't have to do loaves. You didn't have to drop anything from the sky that's like wriggling and flopping around. You just drop straight up manna. And then the people complained about it. Who complains about eating manna? I can't tell you how many times I've been in a battle in a dungeon and ran out of manna, and like been thinking of these people in the Bible that were like, we're tired of manna. And it's like, if you didn't want it, if you didn't want the manna, I would have taken it, because I could have used it when I was fighting that necromancer.
It's crazy.
Here's your laugh for today. They're still in my driveway.
While rare, animal rain is a true weather phenomenon that happens when small creatures, typically fish and frogs, get swept up in waterspouts or updrafts and then fall to Earth's surface when it rains. An event so bizarre, it got...
They just explain it, but this person doing this channel is still going to insist that it's biblical. They just explained how it happens. They just broke it down, but now it's biblical.
Texas and Arkansas talking and sharing.
There was a loud crack of thunder, and we opened up the bay door, and I looked outside, and it was raining real hard, and a fish hit the ground.
We'll watch him again. I like
said,
this guy.
It's raining fish.
Sweet old Bob.
It's raining fish.
He thought the kingdom had come. He's now post-millennial, y'all.
Locals even going out on evening walks, finding it much easier to spot those silvery scales in the dark of night.
So I whipped my camera out and I filmed it. Fish all over the street.
Cats be thrilled. They're like, hell yeah. It's our time. The kingdom of heaven has come unto us, is what the kitties are saying. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
He just fell out of the sky. That's the strangest thing.
The city of Texarkana posting about the animal rain to its official Facebook page, confirming the wild afternoon was in fact no joke, saying this: so show us your fishy pics, and please, for the sake of everyone, let's tiptoe into 2022 as quietly as possible.
I said, this is something that you would never in a million years think happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, people want to twist it and say, yes, this is biblical truth. Biblical prophecy come true. So fish fall is real. Yeah, the Texarkana case is real. It did happen. They believe that a cyclone hit a lake in Mexico. Was that was the 2022 Texas fish fall. This was the Texarkana one. Texarkana's on the border between Arkansas and Texas, and yes, it does happen. The viral video that's I closed it, but the viral video that's been circulating on like Twitter and stuff, that one's not real. That's a CGI video made to sell fish. It was made by a fish market, but fish fall is real. Raining fish reported near Australian desert. So it happens all over the world. Here's in Australia. It may sound like a biblical tale, but it's just happened. A secluded community in the northern territory of Australia had the heavens rain down fishy manna on it. Even more astonishingly, forgive me for not pronouncing this correctly, Lajamanu, a community 560 kilometers southwest of Catherine on the northern edge of the Tanami Desert, has experienced the highly unusual weather phenomena of raining fish at least 3 times before. So they must be in the path where this phenomena is common. Yeah. And let's see here. ABC News reports. I'm gonna keep pronouncing this the way that I think it's pronounced, but I'm sorry if it's wrong. It's Lajamanu. Reported that Lajamanu residents were stunned to see fish falling from the sky during heavy rain 2 days ago. Lajamanu inhabitants and Central Desert Councilor Andrew Johnson, Japananaka. Man, this article had a lot more. I wasn't expecting hard names from Australia, but who knew? I guess they do have like Urululu. And if you like Australia, I love Australia, and there's gonna be tons of Australia for the last segment of the show, and it's gonna be hilarious. So don't miss it. Stick around till the very end, till we do the completed Hive site, because yeah. Munga Joe. However, it isn't the first time for old-timers there. In fact, similar events have been reported in 2010, 2004, and even as far back as 1974. We've seen big storms heading up to my community, and we thought it was just rain. But when the rain started falling, we've seen fish falling down as well. Not just rain, hail, and snow. Sometimes it rains fish, frogs, or stones, and even coins. Other places around the world have reported such strange weather events. In 2017, for instance, it rained in the coastal city of Tampico in Mexico, according to this article from Ancient Origins. And that's the one I was talking about, where they did actually figure out where the fish came from, because they did like genetic testing on them. It's kind of a cool thing. I I think that being able to figure out the trajectory is and how this happens is really incredible physics. They have to balance just to keep those fish have to go up just high enough where they don't freeze, but low and low enough that they're actually able to be carried over a long distance and then be dropped without splattering them. I mean, it's a balance. Yeah, I can show what I'm wearing. Yeah, this is actually a top I got from one of my friends at work. When I was thrown out, when I was homeless, when that was only the clothes on my back, someone gave me this shirt. So it kind of holds a special place in my heart. Historical record of such bizarre events go back to the 1st century AD, when the Roman historian and author Pliny the Elder documented storms of fish and frogs in Rome. In the 3rd century AD, Greek rhetorician and grammarian Athenaeus reported that heavy rains of frogs and more of these fun names. These are Greek names now, which I have a little bit easier time with, but because phylogeny. But Paeonia and Dardania, yeah, cause. So it's like this is a grammar lesson for us today. Caused so great a nuisance that the residents were forced to flee their homes. Several such incidents were reported in the 19th century. A storm in Italy in 1840 that rained down seeds of Judas trees indigenous to Central Africa. Sugar crystals falling from the sky in Lake County, California in 1857. Hazelnuts raining down over Dublin in Ireland in 1867. Mussel rain in Paderborn, Germany in 1892, and a jelly shower in Bath in England in 1894. I think we talked about that because that was a star. We did a star jelly episode years ago. Not years ago. Has it been a couple of years now? It's been at least a year since we did the star jelly, but I digress. We covered some star jelly, which is another skyfall phenomena, but not quite as interesting as fish and frogs. Since it's just, maybe it's more interesting because it falls and then evaporates, which is pretty interesting. Most incredibly, residents of the Russian village of Mershera experienced a rainfall in the 16th century of 16th century coins in 1940. What did the tornado hit? Like somebody's museum or something? 16th century coins raining down in the 1940s. Could you believe that? Archaeologists explained that the soil erosion had possibly exposed a buried treasure that was sucked up and subsequently dropped by a strong wind. So this is saying that we've actually had buried treasure rain down. Buried treasure rain down on the citizens of Mershera in Russia with medieval coins. Or I guess 16th century wouldn't be medieval. That'd be what, like late. This is gonna be an oxymoron, but late early modern period. It goes that's like a three-way oxymoron, but hold on, I got a cough. I am not an angry atheist. I'm not angry at all. Oh, I have infinite patience. Not really, but I'm pretty chill. I'm not angry. Though, seeing some of the stuff that's been going on instead lately has been making me angry from time to time. In fact, whenever any such strange phenomena occurs, strong winds that sweep up things and deposit them far away have generally been held responsible. But this cannot explain showers of stones and even small rocks that have been known to occur throughout history, while scientific explanations such as volcanoes and meteorites have sometimes been put forward for such occurrences. More often, they are attributed to supernatural forces like poltergeist, evil beings, and divine retribution, according to a 2015 article from Ancient Origins. And they're just plugging their other content here, but live fish fell on Laja Manu as per ABC news report. Japan, this guy's name is going to kill me. Look at this. It's a cool name. One of the coolest names I've seen on here today. But Japanaga, I guess is how you'd say it. I don't know. But said that some of the fish that were at least the size of 2 fingers were alive when they fell. Some are still hanging around in the community in a puddle of water. Children are picking them up and keeping them in bottles or jars, he added. I would probably collect one too. While this is not the first time he had experienced a fish shower, I swear, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry about butchering your name. Japananaga says he still finds it pretty staggering. We saw some free falling down to the ground and some falling onto the roof, and it was the most amazing thing we've ever seen. I think it's a blessing from the Lord. It happened 40 years ago too. Penny McDonald now lives in Alice Springs, which I actually know where that is in Australia. It's kind of in the middle. 40 years ago, she was teaching at a school in Laja Manu and recalls a similar event in the 80s. I got up in the morning. I was working in the school at the time, and the dirt streets outside of my home were covered with fish. They were small fish, and there were a lot of them around. It was just amazing. Because it happened a long time ago, she checked her memory of the event with friends who corroborated that this really did occur. So what does it mean? According to the Museum of Art and Gallery of the Northwest Territory curator of fishes, Michael Hammer, most of the time people arrive after the rain and see the fish scattered everywhere. And in that instance, they've mostly just burst through with the flood that happens locally from a little water hole or something. But it certainly can't rule out fish being caught up in a little storm and then dropped in other places. I would say this being in the desert, it's more likely they actually did fall from the sky than were washed in from a flood, especially if it keeps recurring like this. It's like they're almost on a path for this kind of phenomena to hit them. Besides, he said it was possible for the fish to be alive when they rained down, provided they were not lifted too high and frozen. It just depends on what the local weather patterns are, he said. What forces would be needed to lift them out of the water hole specifically and then up into the air would be pretty interesting. And then there's a SciShow video. We might watch that. I'm going to see if it's too long. Queensland Museum ichthyologist Jeff Johnson expressed surprise that such relatively large fish as spangled perch, which are the most common freshwater fish in Australia, had rained down in Laja Manu, although acknowledging that the event was a real thing. Hammer said that Australia was increasingly experiencing such unusual weather events and called for citizens to be prepared to properly document them when they next occur in their vicinity. At any rate, Australians might soon be very tired of eating fish. I don't know if it's a good idea to eat these fish, to be frank. But let's see here.
SciShow is supported by Brilliant.org.
Yeah, this one's pretty short. Okay.
You probably heard the phrase, "It's raining cats and dogs outside," and you probably also know better.
You just stole my punchline.
Than to take that literally. But sometimes animals do fall from the sky. There have been rare but regular.
Let's see, we got 1860 raining snakes, 1555 engraving of the rain of fishes. And I'm going to stop this quite frequently here, so just bear with me because SciShow's a pretty big channel, and I don't want to get us copyright strike for not adding in appropriate commentary.
Reports of this phenomenon going all the way back to ancient Rome. Sure, some of the historical accounts are probably exaggerated, but there are enough well-documented cases in this century that we know that animal rain is definitely a thing. And meteorologists think they know why. Well, mostly. If you read Pliny the Elder's stories of frogs and fish falling from the heavens, you might be understandably skeptical. But in 2005, thousands of frogs rained down on a small town in Serbia.
Well, it's Pliny and not Herodotus, so that's gives a little more credibility. We all know Herodotus was the one who liked to exaggerate the story, and that went ahead and made things up. 2005.
Then in 2009, clouds of tadpoles fell in Japan. And in 2010, small fish that were very much still alive pelted a town in Australia's northern...
And that's the one we just read the article about. But again, that's happened according to their own reference. This happened at least 3 times in the area previously.
Territory for several days. That was the 3rd time that town had experienced animal downpours since 1970. And
okay, Hank, I know I should just shut up and let you talk, but I can't shut up and let you talk, so I'm going to keep talking over you, but yeah.
Similar fishy weather events have been reported from Wales, India, the Philippines, Honduras, Sri Lanka, Ethiopia, and Mexico in just the last 20 years. Other places have described storms of birds, also spiders. No. The question is, where are all these animals coming from, and how are they getting up into the air?
Pliny the Elder, the main thing I know to say about Pliny the Elder is he's considered the father of naturalism, which is what went on to become biology. So he was a philosopher and author who wrote and pontificated about natural life and life science, basically. He was the OG that started documenting things about life science, and keeping records of things like this was one of the things that fell on his plate. He did fall for shenanigans too. We're all human.
In some cases, there is a perfectly ordinary explanation that freaked out observers just aren't aware of. When a spider rain fell in Australia 3 years ago, for example, of course it was Australia, it was probably just a case of ballooning, where spider babies use their silk to float long distances on air currents.
Okay. So ballooning on air currents do have an effect on that, on how they balloon, but their ballooning is mainly based on the Earth's electromagnetic current. Those strings are held straight up with the little strings of silk that they extend out. The balloons are held up with electrostatic from the atmosphere. They're actually ballooning on the Earth's magnetic pole. It's really cool.
Perfectly natural, if slightly terrifying, when the entire landscape is suddenly coated in a thick layer of cobwebs. And the thousands of blackbirds that fell out of the sky in Arkansas and Louisiana in 2011 probably died from crashing into things when they were startled by the fireworks on New Year's Eve. It's those other animal rain incidents, the aquatic ones, that are much harder to explain.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The birds don't really... the birds could get hit by a sudden cold draft that freezes them, or... get hit by a hailstorm, run into a jetliner. They could be hit by lightning. There's a few different factors that could come into play to cause all the birds to fall together as a flock. But yeah.
In the past, people thought maybe migrating birds were dropping their prey en masse. No one had any idea why they might do this, mind you, but why else would frogs fall from the sky? There's no such thing as a frog with wings. These days, most scientists and meteorologists think that these animals come from waterspouts, tornadoes over open water, like oceans or large lakes. They're most common in tropical oceans, but they've been seen all over the world, and they can form over water even...
So, I do notice a trend that this seems to hit a lot of areas that have seasonal weather events. Like they'll have really dry summers and really dry for most of the year, and they have like a short rainy season, like what you see in West Texas and Oklahoma and Mexico, Australia, North Africa, and the Near East. Greece, not so much, but there's a trend that's just hitting in a certain type of environment.
When conditions are relatively calm. All it takes is enough warmth and humidity for clouds to condense and touch down. The waterspouts that form in fair weather tend to be small, weak, and short-lived, but sometimes waterspouts form when land tornadoes move out to sea. These are less common, but they're also much larger and more dangerous. Regular tornadoes have been known to carry lightweight debris like paper as far as 320 kilometers, and heavier objects like metal signs for 80 kilometers. I mean, and Dorothy made it all the way to Oz. So while waterspouts aren't usually as strong, the idea that they might suck up things and transport them some distance.
Well, a lot of these are freshwater fish, though. They're not oceanic. So why are we even talking about oceanic waterspouts, though? I'm not trying to throw Hank under the bus here. Just
and then drop them in a new location does make sense. And if they do, those things could include small fish or frogs. Several of the living hail events in recent years coincided with storms and strong winds, which also fits the waterspouts theory. The fact that the animals are aquatic also makes sense. And occasional reports of animal rain in places far from water could be explained by land-based tornadoes or other strong updrafts instead. The thing is, no one has actually ever seen this happen. It isn't exactly easy.
How would you witness it happening, though? Wouldn't it happen inside of a cyclone underwater? So when you see a water spout, you see what's on top. There's activity happening under the water too. At least down a few meters down under the water. There's going to be activity happening that we don't really have any kind of research on at all, at least as far as I can tell, to see how that would happen or what the mechanics of that might be.
Easy to observe a violent storm over water, so it could just be that meteorologists who study waterspouts aren't on high alert for airborne fish. Or since these amphibious rain events are just so rare, maybe they haven't been in the right place at the right time. So even though the waterspouts idea fits really well, we haven't been able to confirm it. Maybe if we did, we could also explain another mysterious detail, why they usually involve just one animal or even one.
That's the big mystery for me too. It's like, okay, when it's fish, again, especially when it's schooling fish, I can say, okay, it picked up a school of this species of fish. But when it's just a species of frog, that's really peculiar to me because frogs are predatory and they do tend to cannibalize if they're in too big of an area or their population is too high in an area, I mean to say. And they would need to have food as well to be able to thrive in such an area. So you'd expect whatever they were eating, which would also be an animal, because again, frogs are predators. You'd expect to see some fish and frogs mixed together, or other aquatic invertebrates and things like that.
Species. It's frogs or fish, not a random mix of nearby aquatic life. Some scientists think that that's because objects of similar size and weight fall out together as storm forces die down. Others find that answer less than satisfying, since lakes and oceans contain lots of different animals that are fairly similarly sized. Another possibility is that the spouts only pick up things when they're densely clustered. But until we actually see animals getting pulled out of the water,
I think it actually would have to hit the school. Hit it, pull it up, and that would be it. It's going to be a really small window of probability.
By spouts, no one can really say what limits the storm's catch. So if fish or frogs start falling from the sky and plopping onto the sidewalk, don't panic. It's probably not a sign of the end times. It's just a really weird weather phenomenon with a perfectly reasonable scientific explanation, probably. But even if it's not raining frogs, the science of weather is fascinating, which is why I wanted to test my understanding of atmospheric pressures.
There we go. Okay, they're gonna advertise brilliant, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap up Cryptic Corner here. So, what do you all think? Skyfalls, again, they're very real. It's something that does happen. It's rare, and again, it can be sort of in a niche area, like that area in Australia where it happened again and again because of the nature of the weather patterns over that area, I'm sure. But the most recent video, and that's the thing about this most recent video, why make a fake fish fall video when you can find real fish fall information? I guess because there's no videos of it. Is that the problem? It'd be great to catch it on video when it actually happens, but a lot of times people come in after the fact, like he was just saying, and in that case, it was a little bit different phenomena. Anyway, you let me know in the comments down below what you think, and really appreciate you for joining me for Cryptic Corner. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.